Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Calling All Devs, our weekly Q&A series where I take questions from you, the Star Citizen backer, and pose them directly to our Star Citizen developers, usually over Skype, usually from the office, and usually at all hours of the day. Starting us off this week, we are going to Manchester, United Kingdom, and Foundry 42's own Jens Lind. Jens, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, Jared. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show with us this week. I got a question. I got a question for you. I appreciate that. And I told you the last time you said that I was going to make you pay for it. This is it. All right. So your question from the backers, voted on by the backers, says, when running canned animations like ship entry or exit, the character is currently teleported to the animation start position from wherever they happen to be. Do you plan on making this look smoother?
The direct answer is yes. Obviously, teleporting is not nice and not something we want to do. It's not something that's very safe to do in a multiplayer environment. I mean, someone else could be there. So yeah, it's something we really want to improve if we can. The ideal scenario is you guys are right on the money when you use your enter interactions and everything looks great. But of course, we want to be generous. We don't want you to have to stand on like pinpoint accuracy to hit that ship enter or get the soda from the drink machine. So yeah, there's various things we're doing, and some of the things should already be coming your way in 3.2. One of them would be like the ship enters used to be you set it going, you can run away, and then it teleports you back. Now it shouldn't teleport you back anymore. If you run away, that's telling us you don't want to get into that ship anymore.
Gotcha.
So, and then if you're close enough, we should sort of slide you into position a bit better. But what we're hoping to do is more the things we're doing when you choose to pick something up, where it actually walks the player over if it's close enough. Obviously, at any time, you should be allowed to pull out and say, hey, I actually didn't want to pick that up. I didn't realize you were going to move me. We don't want to take control away from you. You're the player. You're in control. The canned animation is, the length of which we don't want you to have control.
Exactly.
Even then, wherever we can, we should allow you to break out.
It's a delicate balance, like everything else with Star Citizen. It's you want it to be as diegetic and realistic as possible, but you have to measure that against time and technology and priorities and whatnot. So yeah.
Everyone wants different things as well, right? I mean, some people are very happy with, like, if you click to use a vehicle, it would just teleport you into the seat and off you go. 0-second delay kind of gameplay, and our animators will obviously love you to see the beauty of the things they create.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right, man. I think that does it. Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to work.
No problem. All right, enjoy your day. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
All right, so thank you so much to Jens Lind out of Foundry 42 Manchester. Now we're moving one time zone over to our Frankfurt office, Foundry 42 Frankfurt, and our own live director of Star Citizen Live, Mr. Todd Pappy. Todd, how you doing, man?
Hey, Jared. I think it's Jens. He goes by Jens.
Oh, well, I'm the stupid American that can't pronounce anybody's name. So I'm staying in character.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good.
Now we have to call Jens back and apologize. Todd, welcome back to the show. It's been a while. I should tell everybody though, just because you haven't seen Todd Pappy in a couple of weeks doesn't mean his presence isn't felt. This show is not possible without the weekly cooperation and help of Todd Pappy setting up all these different developers and stuff. So,
thank you.
All right, we got a question for you. This is an oldie but a goodie. Death of a Spaceman. Now the question reads, we've not heard much regarding the death of a spaceman mechanic since it was first introduced. Why should, and you should read about the death of a spaceman, we're going to put the link down below, it'll be in the thing. Why should non-role players care about that final death?
I don't know if non-role players will care about that final death. I think non-role players will care about every single death. Just like I think role players will care about every single death, and that's just because of the items that they could be losing at that time. Now, if they become attached to the character and the way that that character looks, then I think that will influence more of their feelings towards losing that character. But again, through basically their customizing of the character, I'm sure that they can get him back pretty close to that, looking pretty close to that point.
Okay. So just as a quick follow-up for anybody who is not familiar with the Death of a Spaceman mechanic, and I encourage you to read it. We're not going to go through the entire mechanic here. Give me just the nickel version of the Death of a Spaceman.
It's permadeath, but the idea is that you pass on your belongings to your next of kin. And with Death of the Spaceman, the idea is that you can die, so many times and basically be revived, but you've lost a lot of your equipment that you took out on that journey. And you can be revived and then you'll be damaged. It'd be similar to like Luke losing a hand or basically Thor losing his eye kind of thing. Spoilers for people. So especially Luke losing his hands, that's a good spoiler. From there, you basically have your body adjusted and modified, and you get older through the game, and it's more just looks and I don't think it'll affect your reflexes right yet or anything like that, or stamina, but then there'll become a certain point in time where you basically have to create a new character, and your old character dies and passes on, and now you're playing your new character, and it won't have all the scars and be battle worn, old and jaded like we are. They'll be the new young pups.
Gotcha. And just to assuage any fears, because this will be the first time many people have heard about that. We've gained a lot of Star Citizens since the Death of a Spaceman article was first published. When you talk about lose items, you're talking about losing the items that you have physically on you at that time. The stuff in your bank or in your hangar or whatnot, those bequeathed to your new character.
Correct. It is basically about your local inventory and what you take out on. Let's say you die going and exploring a sun. Okay, well, you go explore the sun, or go and explore, let's say a jump point between Pyro and Stanton. Mm-hmm. If you die in there, then you're losing the equipment that you took on that journey, and we'll have to worry about. Is it there for X amount of time? So there, if you revive and you hurry back there, it might be there. That's something that we would still need to work out. But the idea is that you lose that, and so you want to be careful about what you're doing. We want to create that sense of urgency of I want to stay alive. I don't want to lose what I have.
Gotcha. All right, and of course, like I said, that's only the nickel version. We're going to encourage you to read the post. The post published several years ago. It's still our intention. We had our concierge party just a couple weeks ago, and that came up twice in the concierge party, and your sentiments just now echoed Chris's sentiments that he gave at the party. So we still
fantastic.
Confirm. Yeah, just in case you were wondering if you were still on track, you're still on track with exactly what Chris said to backers 2 weeks ago. So check that out, guys. It's still a good read, still an important read about the future design of Star Citizens and your player in the universe. So Todd, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to work.
All right, take care.
Take care, man. See ya. All right, so thank you so much, Todd Pappy, calling all devs MVP. I stuttered there because I wanted to say Citizens of the Stars. Up next, back here in our Los Angeles studio, and Chad McKinney, a real calling all devs all-star. Chad, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. Doing well. Nice to see you.
Yep. I got another question for you. Another question submitted by the backers, voted on by the backers. This one actually came in a couple formats, separate questions that were voted up. I'm kind of combining them. They're about waypoints. Basically, in its simplest form, in the future, will it be possible to select multiple quantum travel points at once in order to create waypoints, instead of having to reopen the star map and select a new destination every single time we enter and exit quantum travel?
That's a great question. So the feature team that I'm a part of right now has been working a lot on improving quantum travel in a lot of different ways. And this is something that we were seriously looking at amongst the discussion about the ways that we can improve quantum travel. Mm-hmm. It is definitely something that we want to address. The idea is basically that you could be able to say, open your Moby-Glass and say you want to go to whatever, Delamar, some other moon, and the path to get there actually requires multiple jumps, but perhaps because of obstructions or because there's a subnode that's involved. And the idea is that we could actually construct a path dynamically based on where you are and where you want to go. And then in kind of a further iteration, we would allow the players to then modify that path. So if they wanted to, say, reroute it so that maybe it didn't go through pirate space because that was a less direct route but safer, something like that, then you would have the capacity to do that. But yeah, we definitely want to have multi-jump path selection available. And then the idea is that not only would it make it easier for you to jump, but also now that we're getting quantum linking in the game, it'll make it easier because otherwise, just the process of getting a whole group doing this whole thing over and over, it's going to be madness.
It's a bit laborious.
Yes.
It's a bit laborious.
So yeah, I mean, it's something that definitely it's on our radar, and we want to do it. We've already done, actually, I've already done some of the work to make this happen. In fact, just before you called me, I was working on something that used it. Previously, we didn't have any kind of relationship that was established really between the nav markers. We had some kind of implied relationship between them, but it wasn't codified in code in a way that was an accessible data structure. But actually, this is something I actually just made recently for some of the changes that we needed for 3.2. And so that is actually a really good step. Now we have a hierarchy that is the relationship between these points. What's next is just a way to be able to be in one location, select another, and then have some pathfinding algorithm figure out the most direct path, and then we build up a user experience around that path.
Awesome. That's everything I needed, man.
Great.
I'll let you get back to work.
Great.
Right,
Thanks for calling.
Bye. Okay, and finally for this week's show, we're going back to Manchester, United Kingdom, and our own vehicle pipeline director, John Crew, who's going to answer questions about navigator roles and VTOL thrusters. John, how you doing, man?
Hello. Good, thanks.
Thank you. Welcome back to another round of Calling All Devs.
That's yet another one.
Yet another one, man. The more you get promoted, man, the more I you're the person I come to. Sorry, they should have told HR should have told you.
Wasn't in the job description.
All right, so I got two questions for you. We just talked to Chad McKinney about quantum travel points and being able to link them in a series of waypoints. This question goes a little bit deeper, and I thought it deserved a separate breakout. Are there any plans to include things typical of a navigator's role on a ship, like setting the waypoints, or plotting courses through space or on planets and moons, creating quantum travel destination markers, charting, mapping locations of discovered objects, resources, basically a career just as a navigator?
Yeah, so that is, I'm not going to go through all of those things, but at a high level, yes, the navigator role is going to be a thing, and the day-to-day duties of doing that is what it is. It's not going to be like something people on single-seater ships have to do all the time to get anywhere. It's a role that sort of scales up with the size of the ship, as you have to sort of split up the functioning of the ship between multiple people. The navigator role becomes more and more important. So by the time you're getting to Idris, Javelin size stuff, that is a full-time role of plotting those points, making sure what you've plotted is suitable for that ship to do. Like, will it even fit there, like where you're plotting these points with the size of your ship, rather than I'm in a small Gladys, I'm just going to fly there and just do it anyway.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that sounds good. Now, you say for capital ships, I am assuming that satellite ships, parasite ships that are going with the capital ships will be able to take some kind of advantage of that through quantum linking and stuff.
Yeah, and through quantum linking or the radar and scanner system, it's just feeding data into the ship's object data bank and sharing that, and that's sort of how the Herald and other data ships work. It's a commodity that is shared or intercepted.
Awesome. That's yet another thing to look forward to as far as capital ships go. Next question has to do with VTOL thrusters. It's been stated that the VTOL thruster systems would be significantly stronger than other maneuvering thrusters. Is it planned that some less agile ships would have their maneuverability severely decreased when flying non-horizontally in atmosphere?
Absolutely. So it's something that's actually started to get in game with the latest patch for 3.1, 3.14. There were so many that lost track of them. The big ships, Reclaimer especially now, you have to be in VTOL mode, or you have to have your engines orientated appropriately to counter that. And other ships of similar ilk, that if they're big, they're heavy, they either need VTOL thrusters, or you need to pay attention to where your thrusters are orientated relative to the gravity of the planet. Otherwise, bad times.
Awesome. Now, of course, this is we talked to John Pritchett a couple weeks ago. This is just the next step in an ongoing series of revisions and adjustments and whatnot. So I just don't want anybody to think 3.14 is like it. Like that's what it is, and we're done. You're working on Atmosphere Flight. We'll continue to iterate. We'll continue to tweak and modify and take your feedback into consideration in this patch and future patches.
Yeah, it's a great taster of how it behaves.
Yep.
As I've been reading a lot of the feedback, there's a lot of people going, this is great, this is how I always envisioned it. And then there's the people that haven't realised this is a thing, and are smashing into planets left, right and centre.
Like I did.
And then they realise it's a thing.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. About 2 days ago on the P2, I learned the hard way. All right, John, I'll let you get back to work. Thank you so much, man.
Cool, no problem.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that about wraps up this week's show. A special thanks to Jens and Todd and Chad and, of course, John Crew for taking their time to be here on the show this week. Remember, you can submit your questions for consideration each and every week up in the thread, up on Spectrum. And, of course, don't forget to vote. That is the two-pronged plan. You got to submit your questions. You got to vote your questions. That's how we know which questions you want to see answered most. So for Calling All Devs, I'm Content Manager for Global Video Production, Jared Huckabee. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertsspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.